welcome to Rock Solid Sports Week 12 preview, the only sports show in Knoxville with a home field advantage. I'm Sierra Galanza, and I am here with Sam Forman and Tanner Carson, where we will be previewing the UT Mizzou game here at Neyland Stadium on Saturday at 3:30, playing on CBS. To start us off, what are keys to the game for Tennessee?
Well, it's real simple to me. The keys for the game for Tennessee, it's the running game, repeating what they did last week against Kentucky. Personally, I think Tennessee should rest Alvin Kamara a little bit for the home stretch. I think Vandy is the more difficult game out of what's left. You let John Kelly and Carlsville and me carry the load along with Josh Dobbs. And then defensively, the key is, do we have a new sack champion in UT history? Can Derek Barnett top Reggie White's number? He's only 2 away from tying, 3 away from breaking it. Obviously, you know who would love to break it in Neyland Stadium.
And for me, I kind of got to disagree just a little bit, Sam, on the resting Alvin Kamara part here, because for my key to the game, Tennessee has to score almost every time they have the ball, if not at least 99.5% of the possessions they have, just because of how bad this Tennessee rushing defense has been in the last few weeks because of all the injuries throughout the season been piling up. You know, it didn't cost you last week against Kentucky because the defense was able to hold Kentucky to field goals in the red zone. They were able to come up with a red zone turnover. That's great and all, but you don't know you're going to get that against Missouri, who is the second best offense in the SEC so far. You might not recognize that or expect that from their record of 3-7, but their offense has been revitalized this year. It's been really surprising to people, so it could be another shootout on our hands. So Tennessee needs to score every time they have the ball on offense. For defense, I think you need to keep Drew Lock under pressure. What I said about Missouri's offense being so good, Drew Lock leads the SEC in passing yards. He's tied for first in passing touchdowns, also along with Josh Dobbs in that stat. Just a nice little trivia thing there for stats purposes. But anyway, back on topic, Tennessee needs to pressure Drew Lock, force him into mistakes, because despite his impressive statistics this year, at the end of the day, he's still at most above average quarterback. So force him into making mistakes. You're going to have Cam Sutton back there. He had a great game against Kentucky. He set the UT record for pass breakups. So he's back. He's a force in that secondary. So I think if you can force Drew Lock to make bad decisions, it's going to be a good day for Tennessee's defense.
Mizzou will be traveling here to Neyland Stadium on Saturday. Gentlemen, what are keys to the game for Mizzou?
Well, for Missouri, starting off on offense is pretty simple. You've got to hit the big plays when they're there. You're going to need big plays to keep you in this game. I disagree with you. While Missouri's offense, technically as far as stats goes, is up there in the SEC, they've been on a roller coaster type season. They're really good or they're absolute awful. Yep. We saw them play better than normal against Vanderbilt. Looks like they could have a down game. I don't think they're going to be able to survive with Tennessee unless they hit big plays. Defensively, it's something I've said off and on again throughout the season because of Tennessee's running backs. Making open field tackles. Missouri can't give up big plays on defense to the Tennessee offense, whether that be in the passing game like we saw Tennessee be able to pull off for the first time successfully against Kentucky, or through the running game, whether it be Alvin Kamara does play a lot, or whether it's John Kelly, Carlsville and me, or Josh Dobbs. They've got to tackle them one-on-one.
For Missouri on offense, it's basically, like I said, with Tennessee's keys to defense, that horrible rushing defense you've seen over the last few weeks gave up well over 400 rushing yards to Kentucky. Yes, Kentucky has a great rushing attack, but to give up over 400 yards like that, granted, some of that was in garbage time, but still, they gashed Tennessee all day. So if Missouri can learn something from that, open up the running game by a good place for Drew Lock in a passing game, preferably on early downs, because Drew Lock in that Missouri passing attack struggles when he gets the passing downs for some reason. That goes into what you said, Sam, about how the Missouri offense is up and down. So Missouri offense can move the ball consistently. I think they have a good shot putting up many points against Tennessee offense, maybe close to around the 30-35 range in that area. And for defense, you just got to use your strength if you're Missouri, which up front is your edge rushers. First person that comes to mind, and someone else I'm going to say for the player to watch, I'm going to go ahead and say, is Charles Harris. He is by far the best member of the Missouri defensive unit. Tennessee's offensive line has definitely got together well over the last few weeks. They've been more consistent, especially in the run game, but they still have problems on the edges protecting Josh Dobbs in some passing situations, and we all know what happens when Josh Dobbs gets hurried and is forced to make mistakes. So you have to use your strengths of your Missouri's defense.
Tennessee has struggled throughout the season with having injuries, and we've seen a lot of younger players get minutes on the field. What players on Tennessee's offense and defense will you be specifically looking at this game?
Well, no, we're just supposed to do 2, so I'm going to keep this quick because I'm going to do more than 2. Simply put, defensively, it's Derek Barnett. Can he get the sack record? Obviously, if you're a Tennessee fan, you're hoping he gets the sack record, regardless of whether it is Saturday in Neyland or it comes in at Vanderbilt, comes in a bowl game, maybe an SEC title game. Who knows? You're hoping he gets it, but you'd love to see it happen in Neyland. Offensively, it's John Kelly because I think they should rest Kamara a little bit, make sure he's healthy for what could be an SEC title run. And then I'm looking at Butch Jones because I want to see Butch put the team in a position to where he can get all those seniors in. It is senior day, looking for all the seniors on the team, regardless of where they are in the depth chart. Seniors on the cheer squad, seniors on the dance team, seniors in the band, everyone taking part in their last game in Neyland Stadium on Saturday. I'm looking at you. A little senior recognition.
For me, for offense, Tennessee has to look at a wide receiver who has definitely came back into the picture over the last few weeks. That is Josh Malone. He started out the season very consistently, having a touchdown the first 5 games, I believe. Not 5, it was 4. But, yeah, he started off consistently, kind of tapered off a little bit while Tennessee went through their tougher stretches of games. But he's shown up. He showed up well against Tennessee Tech, showed up well against Kentucky, had another receiving touchdown, had 92 yards on just 4 catches. So, I think for the Missouri defense, it's definitely, coming into the season, we thought Missouri defense was going to be very elite all across the board. That has been the complete opposite of that. They've been gashed against almost every team they played. I think you can definitely expose the Missouri secondary with a revitalized Josh Malone. On defense, senior day, like you said, Sam, well, I'm looking at the senior who just came back last week, Cameron Sutton. Like I just said, he set the Tennessee record for pass breakups in a career last week against Kentucky. He can certainly add to that against Missouri this Saturday for the simple fact that him being there, it's a whole nother level of security for that Tennessee secondary who's struggled so mightily without him. And, of course, with all the other injuries that have been piling up in that secondary at different points in the season to Micah Abernathy, Malik Foreman, what have you. Bad performance by Justin Martin. Cam Sutton back there, you know what you're going to get. He's a sure thing. So watch out for him to have a good game in his last performance at Neyland.
Very similarly, what players will you be looking out for on Mizzou, both offensively and defensively?
Well, Missouri, I'm looking at the running game, and I'm looking at Demarie Crockett, the running back from Missouri. I think he has to have a big game in every aspect. Run blocking when he is run blocking, they have multiple backs. Pass blocking, running the ball, and catching. He can't make mistakes because if he makes mistakes, Drew Lock can wind up on the ground. That's not good for Missouri's chances in this one. And then defensively, I'm looking at Donovan Newsom. He's one of Missouri's leading tacklers. He's one of their key veteran players. He's got to have a big day, especially, like I said, in the open field, making open field tackles.
For offense, I'm looking at Jamon Moore for Missouri, the by far their best wide receiver, second leading receiver in the SEC. He's had a big breakout year. He's going to make himself some money in the NFL. Big reason why Drew Lock's been able to have such a successful season is because of the production of Jamon Moore. No matter against what defense he's went up against, he's always had a consistent game. I think it's going to be a challenge with Cam Sutton back there to defend him, for him to have another productive game. But like I said, he is second in the SEC receiving yards for a reason. You need to watch out for him. And I already said my defensive player to watch for Mizzou is Charles Harris. He's been one of the lone bright spots on a very bad, very disappointing Missouri defense. He's got 11 tackles for loss, 8 sacks. He by far leads the team in both of those statistical categories. He's going to be a future first rounder, I think as soon as this year, because he's eligible for the draft in 2017. So definitely watch out for him to try to give Josh Dobbs fits this Saturday.
Moving on to predictions, Florida is playing number 24 LSU at LSU. What is your prediction for this game?
Well, this is a rescheduled game from earlier in the season. We all know and have talked about the controversy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's big for Tennessee because if Florida loses this game to LSU, Tennessee wins out. They go to Atlanta as the SEC East champions. LSU's been here in Florida do an awful lot of smack talking. Florida without Del Rio. Florida out multiple key players on their defense. Don't quite know if Leonard Fournette's going to play in this game, which actually could be a blessing for LSU. Then again, you still have a potential top 5 NFL draft caliber running back behind Leonard Fournette. Think the Tigers are going to win this one. Florida's SEC East hopes die in Death Valley. LSU wins 35-14.
I'm on the same page as Sam right here. This game getting rescheduled in Baton Rouge is a big deal. Death Valley is one of the most toughest places to play for any team in the country. I think one common opponent you have to look for to get a sense of how this game's going to go is the Arkansas Razorbacks. Florida lost to Arkansas 31-10, I do believe, or it was somewhere around it was 31-10. My memory almost escaped me there. And LSU, you just saw what they did to Arkansas last week, 38-10. Common opponent, you saw two completely different games from these teams. Florida offense has been terrible. They're going to still be terrible without Luke Del Rio. Like Sam just mentioned, they're missing multiple players on defense. The key guy that stands out in my mind is the heart and soul of that defense, Gerard Davis, for that linebacker spot. I think LSU's offenses look so good under Coach O. They're just going to roll over Florida. I've got the Tigers winning 30-10, and Tennessee fans rejoice, and they've never been happier to root for LSU in their entire lives.
Also playing this week is a top 25 matchup. Number 23, Washington, is playing number 12, Colorado, at Colorado. What are your predictions for this game?
Yeah, a potential preview of the Pac-12 championship game in just a few weeks. I think Colorado's only chance here is if Washington State is looking ahead to that Pac-12 North deciding Apple Cup against in-state rival Washington. I think Luke Falk and new Pac-12 all-time receptions leader Gabe Marks going to be too much for the Buffalo, even though they're having a special season. Give me the Cougars 38-21.
I'm with Sam right here on the upset, actually. Washington State, the only undefeated team remaining in the Pac-12 as far as conference record goes. You wouldn't have thought they've had a successful season like they've had after they opened up the season with a loss to Portland State, an FCS school. But they've definitely rebounded since then. Mike Leach knows how to get things done. They're, like Sam said, they have a big weapon in Gabe Marks that Luke Falk can throw to. Luke Falk's a quarterback no one really talks about, and I think that's undeserved in my opinion. They're going to be hurting a little bit on that wide receiver core without River Craycraft, one of their leading receivers, out for the season. But I just think Washington State has been clutch in many games. They know how to win. They're going to upset the Colorado Buffaloes in Boulder 35-28.
We have another top 25 matchup playing. Number 11, Oklahoma, is playing number 16, West Virginia University, at West Virginia. What is your prediction for this game?
Yeah, well, the Big 12 doesn't have a championship game, and this may be as close to one as we actually get to see this season. And it's my second straight upset on this for this Pick'ems this week. I love Baker Mayfield. I think he could wind up in New York as a Heisman Trophy finalist. But I think that West Virginia defense is going to be a little bit too much for the Sooners. Give me the Mountaineers 31-28. Morgantown goes nuts.
Sam has a good point about West Virginia defense. They seem like they're the only team in the Big 12 that does play any defense. And also, like you said, this is going to be the de facto Big 12 title game. By far the best two teams remaining in that conference. Any small playoff hopes rest on the shoulders of the Sooners and the Mountaineers. But I'm going to give the higher-ranked Sooners, which I think it's kind of disrespectful that West Virginia is ranked as low they've been, especially in the college football playoff poll last night. I still think, Samonje Piron has been back to help on that offense along with, the weapons you're going to have with Baker Mayfield and Joe Mixon back there. But also, I'll tell you another Heisman candidate that could wind up in New York. You mentioned Baker Mayfield, but I'm going with his favorite target, D.D. Westbrook. He's been absolutely tearing up defenses since the Texas game, and that's been a whole month-long streak of him getting 100-plus yard receiving games. If I can get myself untongue-tied, multiple receiving touchdowns. I think that's going to be the deciding factor in the Sooners going to Morgantown. The couches will not burn. Sooners 33-30.
Our FCS game of the week is Central Arkansas at Sam Houston State. What is your prediction for this game?
Southland Conference Championship game. They don't have a postseason championship game, so this is a championship game. Two teams who haven't lost in that conference this year. Central Arkansas kind of has a soft place in my heart. Love the purple and gray turf, maybe the best colored turf out there. But Jeremiah Briscoe, the Bearcats quarterback, I think he's just too good. And, there's lyrics in Rocky Top. Half bear, the other half cats. Yeah. Give me the Bearcats 42-38 over the Bears.
I got Rob and Jeremiah Briscoe in that amazing Sam Houston State offense. They've undefeated on the year, current number one team in FCS. It's a tough matchup against Central Arkansas, but I'm grinding with the Bearcats along with the lyrics to Rocky Top. Nice reference there, Sam. 34-20.
And something we haven't done in a while, our high school game of the week is Elizabethton versus Maryville at Maryville in the Class 6A quarterfinals. What is your prediction?
We are starting to get very close to the prime of TSSAA football across all levels here, especially some great teams still alive in East Tennessee. A lot of great games happening in our region Friday night. This may be the crown jewel of them all. At the end of the day, T.D. Blackman for Maryville, I think he's just going to be too much for Elizabethton. Maryville has a way of, tornado/hurricane mascots kind of, taking and doing with them what they want. Things don't look good for Elizabethton. Give me the Rebels 42-38.
as a rule, I never pick against Maryville in the playoffs. I don't pick against Maryville basically at all. And after
Smart choice.
I was in the office with Sam this week, and he showed me a Elizabethton's logo, and I was absolutely disgusted by it. I think it's one of the worst logos I've ever seen, poorly drawn. And I never bet against George Quarles. He has an absolute machine down there in Blount County, 34-14 Rebels.
And last but certainly not least, UT is taking on Mizzou here at Neyland Stadium. What is your prediction for this matchup?
Well, I have a feeling our scores may be a little bit different after the analysis we gave on this one. For me, I think it's senior day in Neyland Stadium, and you have a very influential senior class on this Tennessee team. They know what's on the line. I don't think they get caught watching the scoreboard. I think they say, LSU can only take care of business. All we can do is take care of ours. And that does not spell good things for the Tigers. Missouri goes down big, 49-20 for the Vols, putting up points for the final time this season in Neyland.
Missouri presents a very it's a tough challenge for a Tennessee defense, especially one that's looked like a Big 12 defense over the past few weeks. I think Tennessee's just going to have to ride up the season with what they got. They got to realize this is our identity. We're just going to have to bend, not break on defense. I think they do that. Missouri is 3-7 for a reason. Yeah, they put up good offensive numbers, but when you look at it, it's been against bad teams like Delaware State, Eastern Michigan, MTSU, and I lost to MTSU, by the way. And it's losses like that, and the fact that I'm not really impressed by what they did against Vanderbilt last week, and just with the added fact that it is senior day in Neyland Stadium, Tennessee's offense is clicking on a whole new level with that backfield, Dobbs, Kamara, and Kelly. I had the Vols winning 41-24, sending these seniors and Derek Barnett out on a high note.
Well, there you have it, folks. That was our Week 12 preview for the UT-Mizzou game here at Neyland Stadium. Again, if you want to watch this game, it is a 3:30 kickoff on CBS. I'm Sierra Galanza. I'm here with Sam Forman and Tanner Carson, and you are listening to Rock Solid Sports.